We're going to go into the yard now and shut off the main water to the house before we do this plumbing work. And I got that cover off. The shower is dripping, as you can see there, very slowly. It'll get worse. And so what we're going to have to do is change the valve that's hidden inside here. So that's what we're going to show you how to do. The first thing we're going to do is get an Allen wrench and take a little set screw off this handle and get this handle off, and then we'll show you the rest. Okay, so we've got the handle off. Now we've got to remove this bonnet. We don't want to scratch it, but this is so old, we can't do too much damage to it. We do have to be careful. I put grease on it last time so it might come off easier because there's pipes all in this wall and we don't want to put pressure on it and break it or kink it. Okay, we're going to try to get this bonnet off. There we go. It's loosened up a bit. And we're going to take it off by hand. Let me pause a minute. Okay, we've got that off. And now we're going to try to pull this out of here. It's actually 3 different pieces, and we've got to get that out of there. This thing can be very tight in there, so we're going to grab it with a needle nose pliers and kind of pull on it. So, you know, and you might have to work a little bit more hard at this, and we'll finally get it out. So there it comes, and some water is dripping. Deep inside there, you'll see those 2 little things that we'll show you in a minute. They're a rubber gasket with a plastic piece on it and a spring. Those are what's really probably causing the most problem, although we're going to replace the entire unit. So we're going to use a needle nose pliers to pull those out of there, and then we'll show them to you. So we just pulled the one out, and you can see that there's the black rubber gaskety thing. There's the plastic, that the spring, there's a spring on it. So those 3 pieces, notice how it's assembled, because we got to put it back in the exact same way. We're going to get the other one out, and you know, the thing that we bought actually comes with those new springs and gasket. Okay, here's the pieces that we've got. We've got the replacement cartridge. In our case, it's a VA1, and we have the seats and springs for it that I showed you that we just pulled out, the old ones. And then we've got some silicone grease that we're going to use perhaps on this rubber gasket right here, and also on that big bonnet nut, so the next time we have to take it off, it'll be easier, that bonnet nut. Okay, we're going to show you how you put together these pieces. The plastic goes into the spring, first of all. It doesn't really matter which side. And then the spring goes into the black thing, such as, show them here the side where there's, it's almost like threads. They're not really threads. It goes into that side of the gasket. And then when you push it into the shower, it's this end with the thumb that's going to go in first. Okay, here's what they look like when we've inserted the new ones. We pulled this out of the bag, and we can see that the O-ring looks like it was already pre-greased, so we're not going to put more on it. We're just going to go insert this, and you notice the tab here. There's a slot for that where we're going to put it back into the shower. We'll show you that in 1 second. That little tab, when we insert it in, is going to go right there, if you can see that spot there. So we're going to insert this cartridge right now, and we're going to push it in all the way until it's flush where that tab is in there completely. As we were pushing this in, at first it wouldn't go all the way in, and we just pushed it a little bit harder and got it in, so you can see now where it's actually snug in there, and this plastic piece is completely flush with the metal around it. Okay, we're going to put some grease inside of this bonnet. All right.
I'm not in the mood for silicone grease all over my hands today.
Right, and we're going to pause the video, but I am going to put on a little bit more grease. Okay, we're about to put the bonnet nut back on. We've greased it up so we can get it off easier the next time. And there he goes. He was just doing it counterclockwise to get the screws lined up correctly. And now we're just twisting it back on. And when we tighten this down, we're not going to make it real tight. We're just going to make it tight. There's no need for it to be, you don't have to put a lot of pressure on it. Just get it on there good and snug. The next step will be putting the faucet handle back on. So we're going to use that set screw with an Allen wrench here. We're using that Allen wrench to put the faucet handle back on, and I'll let him do that. And as soon as he finishes that, we're going to go turn the water back on outside. I might not have mentioned that early. The very first thing we ever did was go outside and shut off the water to the house. That's very important. Okay, we've turned the water back on outside, and let's make sure everything works. So it's working pretty good. And hopefully it won't drip from up there. It's dripping just a little bit right now because we just turned it on, but that should have fixed our problem.